Hello everybody, my name is Walt. Dark Souls is a game praised for its difficulty, and rightly so. It does not hold your hand. My intention for this Let's Play is threefold. I want to enjoy a strength build modeled after Artorias, who's very frequently referenced in the Dark Souls backstory. I'm also doing a game recording session for the first time. My curiosity's been piqued after watching a few myself. Thirdly, due to the nature of the game, it can be a little bit overwhelming for newcomers. While I don't claim to be an expert, I've played this game for quite a while, and I think this can definitely help. Without further ado, let's get going here. We'll start a new game as Artorias, one of the four Knights of Gwyn, that again will be referenced as we play the game. Obviously your character's sex doesn't matter. I'm going to start the game as a knight. They have generally pretty well-rounded stats, and a quick rundown of those stats as well if you've not played this. Vitality is your health bar. Attunement essentially allows you to equip more spells if you intend to make your character a spellcaster. Endurance is very important because as you swing your sword or you block, you have a separate endurance meter. And when that's expended, you can no longer block or swing. Strength is self-explanatory. That little muscle symbol next to strength, you'll see that on the weapons. That's the amount of physical damage you do with strength-based weapons. Dexterity is very similar to strength. It allows you to use more advanced weapons, and some weapons do more damage the higher your dexterity rather than your strength. Resistance is your defense values. Intelligence is used for spell casting, and faith is for miracle casting. There are two different forms of spell casting. So that's a quick rundown there. Don't intend to take too much time with it, but as you can see, the knight's fairly well rounded, has everything around 10, and he starts with some decent equipment over there. So that'll be an easy way to give us a good start for a strength-based build. Many of these items you can get throughout the game, so nothing terribly important. On this playthrough, I'm going to pick Twin Humanities just to start with a slightly higher item find chance. I normally do pick the Master Key. That's very useful. It opens a bunch of doors throughout the game. Or the Black Firebomb can let you kill the first boss in a couple shots. But I'm going to start with the Twin Humanities. And we'll make this guy very large. We'll make him meaty. Face is not too important. You can mess around a bit on the slider if you like. We're going to go with an Astora Noble. And I believe that's everything. Again, don't want to take up too much of your time on the introduction here, making my character. We're going to let the beginning movie play. And this is the backstory. Like many other mythologies, Greek, Egyptian, Norse, there's a creation story associated with the world we find ourselves in. So we'll go ahead and get that started, and I'll see you on the other side.
In the age of ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog. A land of grey crags, arch trees, and everlasting dragons. But then there was fire, and with fire came disparity. Heat and cold, life and death, and of course, light and dark. Then from the dark they came and found the souls of lords within the flame. Nito, the first of the dead. The Witch of Izalith and her daughters of Chaos. Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, and his faithful knights. pygmy, so easily forgotten. With the strength of lords, they challenged the dragons. Gwyn's mighty lords peeled apart their stone skills. The witches weaved great firestorms. Nito unleashed a miasma of death and disease. And Seath the Scaleless betrayed his own, and the dragons were no more. Thus began the Age of Fire. But soon the flames will fade, and only dark will remain. Even now, there are only embers, and man sees not light, but only endless nights. And amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark sign. Yes, indeed. The dark sign brands the undead. And in this land, the undead are corralled and led to the north. Where they are locked away to await the end of the world. This is your fate.
Okay, and away we go here. As you can see, we play this game as an undead. As the introduction showed, people here in Lordran don't die. They just go on. We're going to see some of these people rotting and losing their minds until they go hollow. Just like these poor souls here, licking their fingers and muttering to themselves in their jail cells. We start with almost nothing. We have a broken sword hilt and the twin humanities that I started the game with. And I'll explain a little bit more about the humanity system as we go, but we can reverse this state of undeath and become a person again. It allows us to play with other people online. We cannot do so while we are in this undead form. These first few guys won't attack us. They're just here in the asylum losing their minds. Quick explanation of the HUD. The red bar on the top left is my health. Green bar is my endurance. As I swing, you'll see, or roll, it takes up the endurance bar. That refills when we're not taking actions. And this is a bonfire. They've been in all of the Dark Souls games. It's essentially a save point for us. Recovers all of our healing items. We don't have any right now, but it recovers our healing items. It also resets the enemies, so it's a double-edged sword. And as we move forward, we're going to be introduced to our first boss. The Asylum Demon prevents the undead from leaving this place. You're not meant to fight it. You certainly can. Probably won't win. Chances are, one swing of that big hammer and you're done. So the objective is to get down the side passage and get some of your gear before you fight him. As you walk down the hallway here, there is a hollow the first hollow that's attacking you with a bow. That's why it's important to dip in the room. Now, depending on your starting class, you'll get yourself a shield, and it will be different depending on how you started. The knight actually starts with a pretty solid shield. I believe it's 100% block rate. If we go into our inventory and toggle the display, it'll show on the right there the damage reduction percentage. So it's 100% physical. Pretty high fire resistance and lightning resistance, and stability is how much endurance that you end up losing when you block. So this one is fairly high. This is one of the best shields to start the game with. Some classes start with flimsy wooden shields or shields made of plank. Not ideal. We can pick up our starting weapon here as well. Straight sword hilt only does 20 damage. Broadsword does 82. So there's a huge difference there. And we'll get into our first fight with this bow-wielding hollow up top. Now you'll see that shield blocks all of the damage from the arrows. We close the distance. Make quick work out of him. I'm going to take this fairly fast, but hopefully explain a couple things as we go. Other people playing this game can leave you messages. They can't communicate with you directly, but they can leave notes on the ground. These are just left by the game. The people that made the game, some NPCs there, so it's a little bit of help to figure out how you get your bearings. Highly recommend, if you haven't played this before, make sure you read all those orange signs, because they'll explain the game to you. Down here, we can open this gate, and it gives us a shortcut back to the first bonfire that we rested at. The Asylum Demon is, again, right through that door. And while we are better equipped, we do not have our healing items, the Estus Flasks, quite yet. So be careful when you walk up these stairs. A boulder will come careening down the stairs at you. Roll out of the way. And watch as that opens up this door with our friend Oscar, who gives you your healing items. I'll let him speak.
Oh, you're no hollow. Thank goodness. I'm done for, I'm afraid. I'll die soon, then lose my sanity. I wish to ask something of you. You and I were both undead. Hear me out, will you? Regrettably, I have failed in my mission, but perhaps you can keep the torch lit. There is an old saying in my family: thou who art undead art chosen, and thine exodus from the Undead Asylum maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringeth the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know. Well, now you know, and I can die with hope in my heart. Oh, one more thing. Here, take this. An Estus flask. An undead favorite.
If that's his family saying, I would love to be present at his Thanksgiving. That's quite a lengthy saying there.
And this.
That'll let us proceed.
I hate to harm you after death. So go now, and thank you.
Alright, that's Oscar. We will be seeing him in a little while. Now that this boulder's already rolled past us, we can go up top. This is the guy that threw that at us. Now you see he gives us 5 Estus flasks, and every time you rest at one of those bonfires, it's going to replenish those flasks. Now if you time things very well when an enemy attacks you, you can parry with a shield, get a critical hit, and nearly almost always instantly kill him. So it's well worth getting the timing down, and this is actually a really good place to practice. So these guys are pretty easy. They usually die in a hit or two anyhow. Also, if you wheel around behind an enemy, you can do the same thing and get a critical hit and backstab them. It's your attack button if you're perfectly positioned. Try to do it on this guy. We can't get through here yet, but we will be back later in the game when we have the key for that. Okay. And this is critical. This is how you kill the Asylum Demon. Now that we have a weapon proper, all we need to do is fall on him from above and hit the R1 button to attack as we're plunging down. It does extra damage against him. By explaining that, I guess I never really realized that he'll actually jump up at you, but you can do this the old-fashioned way. He's very slow, so if you don't get the drop attack on him, you just need to time your rolls fairly well, get behind him, and he goes down fairly quickly when you have a decent weapon like we do now. That plunging attack, though, usually takes off more than half of his health. Okay, just about there. And that's the Asylum Demon. Much easier to plunge on him, but again, he's not bad, especially if you start with a bulky class like this. The Knight has pretty good starting armor, and the broadsword's actually a really solid weapon. And he gives you the key to go ahead and leave this prison. Hefty amount of souls for the beginning of the game, an extra 2,000. That'll help you level a couple times. To explain that, souls are the currency. You get souls for defeating the enemies. You'll see in the bottom right of the screen I currently have 2,284. That's used to both buy things from merchants and also to level up your character. As we escape the Undead Asylum here, it's worth noting you can make a left, walk down here, and pick up a soul of a lost undead. I believe if you use it in your inventory, it'll give you another 200 souls, so that'll bring us up to 2,400. And when you die in this, you lose that currency. You lose all of your souls, making it hard, obviously, to level up or buy things, so that's part of the game's difficulty. We'll watch the cinematic.
Only in the ancient legends it is stated that one day an undead shall be chosen. To leave the Undead Asylum in pilgrimage to the land of the ancient lords. Lordran.
We've arrived at the Firelink Shrine, and this is the main hub of the game. This is where all the paths cross, and by inviting people back here, we unlock new merchants and new people to help us on our journey. The last thing I'm going to do is level up a little bit at the bonfire, and then we'll leave this video off. So we want to use that Soul of the Lost Undead we acquired for a couple extra souls. And what I'd like to do, you see we roll slowly, our gear is a little bit too heavy for us. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to initially invest in endurance. That'll allow us to use heavier gear, and it'll also allow us to extend our endurance bar up top. Let's see if that has an impact. Not yet, we're still rolling fairly slowly, but we'll fix that by the time we're done here. We can also, if you look next to my health bar and my endurance bar, you'll see a 2 there. That is from the 2 humanity I used. What we can do is reverse our hollowing and go back to human form. So we'll go ahead and do that. You'll see our countenance has changed a little bit. Looking a lot more human, a lot less hollow. With that said, I'm going to leave it off here. This is the first of hopefully many videos to come. I'm genuinely hoping that it's informative for everybody, and definitely appreciate your support. If you found this to be helpful in any way, please do like or subscribe, and we'll see you next time where we do a little bit of maintenance work here in Firelink Shrine before starting our journey proper.